There you go. That's Project Origin. Right now we're going to take a look at another, of course, hotly anticipated game with Doug Lombardi from Valve. We're looking at Left 4 Dead. Sir, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. And yourself?
I'm great, fantastic. Now that Left 4 Dead here, I'm even better because I'm so excited for this game. It's so awesome.
Cool, thank you.
Well, so first of all, let's get it. I know we've got some footage we're going to roll while we're talking, but someone who's never played Left 4 Dead, what is this game?
So Left 4 Dead is a new survival co-op game from Valve that's attempting to sort of blend this social entertainment experience of a game like Counter-Strike or TF2 with sort of the narrative and emotional gameplay of a game like Half-Life 2. And the vehicle for that is a co-op experience that's driven by a technology we call the AI Director that is sort of scripting the game in real time based on your success and how you're proceeding through the game with your team. So it's adjusting pacing, difficulty, and also authoring the experience to be unique each time you play it.
We saw Gabe Newell talk a little bit about that at the EA press conference a couple of days ago, and I want to talk to you about a little bit more about that in just a bit, but tell us who you play in this game. I know there's 4 characters. Tell us who they are.
So the story behind the game is that you and 3 other humans are immune to a virus that's broken out and turned everyone into freaks, right? A group of zombies. There's common zombies that there's a couple different varieties of, and then there's boss zombies that there's 5 of. And you meet them, as you proceed through the 4 movies or campaigns that are in the main part of the game.
Yeah. Now, one of the things I like about this game is that there's not a lot of setup, right? You're thrown right into the action.
Yeah, the movie opens. You and the other 3 survivors are there. There's ammo and health packs available to you. Someone will either radio in sort of the basic objective for the map, and then it's off to the races.
And then it's so much of focus on cooperative play. You've got to work as a team full time in this game, right?
Yeah, I mean, the game is being unapologetically unforgiving about beating you into submission to play as a team.
Right.
If you move off and try to go Rambo and take on the zombies by yourself, you're most likely going to fail. So at all times, the game is pushing you to work together, and then there's a lot of subtle things in the game to reinforce that. So for example, if you get knocked down, you can still shoot, but you can't get back up until a teammate helps you up.
Right. And I noticed that you can get knocked down several times, but you can't eventually get to game over, right?
Yeah, there's a 3 strikes and you're out kind of thing at play there. The first 2 times you get knocked down, you can get pulled back up. You can use your health pack and whatnot to sort of cancel the 3 strikes. But if you go down 3 times in a row without having a health pack available to you, the 3rd time you're done.
Yeah. People always want to know about weapons in this game. We've got the shotgun. We got lots of stuff to kill stuff real good. What can you tell us? Folks
who have played Counter-Strike will be immediately familiar with the weaponry in Left 4 Dead. It's all real-world stuff that you would find when the imminent zombie apocalypse happens. So you have things like shotguns, pistols, submachine guns, Molotov cocktails, pipe bombs, etc. available to you. You also have a secondary fire melee attack where you can sort of shoulder punch or weapon punch the zombies away from you if you're surrounded or reloading. That's a good strategy to employ.
Can you give us an idea of how much time you've got between checkpoints where you can reload and get, heal up and that kind of thing?
It really varies as you go through the game and also depends on the team. Each of the movies begins, with sort of shorter maps, and then obviously the finale is sort of a bigger piece. If the team keeps moving towards the checkpoint while clearing their path, they're probably going to be most successful. We see a lot of folks naturally want to stop and clear every room and every corridor, and that can sort of drain ammo and health to the team's detriment.
Sometimes it's just best to run from the zombies.
It's just best to keep going.
Yeah, all right. Let's get some questions from Kristen. I know people want to know about this game. Kristen, what have you got?
I have a bunch of questions. One from James Chicken in London. He wants to know, will there be support for community maps?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, Valve has a pretty long reputation of updating the source SDK post-launch of any game so that folks can do cool stuff, whether it's making new movies or maps for Left 4 Dead or doing wacky stuff through Gary's mod. The imagination is their only limitation on that stuff.
It seems like you wore your inspirations pretty clearly on your sleeve this year. I mean, you see in like 28 Days Later. Can you talk about the inspirations for this game from maybe other media?
Sure. Well, when we first met Michael Booth, who's the lead designer on the game, in 2002, he had finished up work on CNC Generals and Nox. And when we sat down and talked to him right away, he said, I want to build a co-op game that has really heavy AI and has a zombie theme.
Right.
And that was before he built any piece of Left 4 Dead. He just knew right away that that's what he wanted to go after. So that was really sort of the genesis of how we came up with it.
And you sort of touched on the AI earlier, and as I said, that we saw Gabe talk about it at the EA press conference. But this is, on the surface, it just seems like, it's giving you a different experience each time, but it's really tailoring the gameplay to how you play the game, right? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think that this game, more than any other game we've done before, is one of those ones where you kind of have to play it to get it. We explain it a lot, and folks get the big idea, but once they play it and then play through the same section again, then it really is hammered home. So, for example, if you're moving through an area, one time you'll see a certain population in different rooms, whether it's just common zombies or an empty room. You go through the next time, there'll be boss monsters in there perhaps, or a single boss monster, any variety of those things. And that's being done both uniquely just to make the game different each time you play it, as well as to tailor it to how well your team is doing. So just like a director would in a movie, he can call for, let's have a big scene now. He's looking at pacing, which is one of those things that we see is really important, to have dramatic peaks and valleys throughout the game and not sort of be overloading the player with constant action and getting sort of that barrage.
So when I load up the game for the first time, am I choosing a difficulty level, or is the game adapting right away to how I'm playing it?
Both.
Okay.
The team can select, easy, medium, difficult. But teams' dynamics will change more so than an individual's. So if you choose easy and it turns out you guys work as an elite machine, the director's going to call for some boss zombies to slow you down and to give you, a bigger challenge as you're going through it. If you choose hard and your team isn't so good, he's going to dial things down a little bit. But there is still that baseline difficulty setting that's going to be taken into account and will sort of be the basis from which the director works from.
Now, the last time I played this game, I think was at EA's pre-E3 event, and the character models have changed a little bit. You guys have been tweaking a little bit, right?
Yeah, a couple of the things we're debuting here at the show is the new character models and the new pipe bomb. The character models, we made some changes based on some feedback that we got from players and some of the things that we learned from Team Fortress 2. This thing we call a read hierarchy, which is to be able to immediately identify who you're encountering and where your teammates are. So you'll notice that the silhouettes on these characters are much more defined and distinct from the zombies. Also, their color contrast, they're a little bit brighter, whereas all the zombies tend to be sort of muted color tones, etc.
All right, Kristen, let's have another question for Doug.
Oh, but which one? Tom Fleetwood from Manchester, England wants to know, are the levels open for like free range, or is it pretty linear?
Hello, Tom. Manchester is one of my favorite places in the world. I'll just say that before I answer the question. The game is both, it's not as linear as a lot of the Valve games have been in the past, but it's not a completely open world. We're trying very much to make you feel like you're in this city and that you're sort of starring in this zombie movie with your friends. So as you move through the streets, there are some different pathways to take, but it's not a completely wide open place. We're also doing some different things to sort of point you through the areas of the world, sort of like letting you fall off cliffs and using those as edges as opposed to just putting up walls on every place, and being able to fall out of a high-rise building that isn't completely constructed, et cetera, or hang from that until one of your friends comes and pulls you out.
Oh, that sounds so good. So we're looking at footage right now of the game. Where are we here within the game?
Here we're almost at the finale of the first movie, which is the hospital movie. These guys are in that high-rise that hasn't been completed yet, and the team is moving along here, and if I'm viewing everybody's health, half the team is doing pretty good and half the team is doing so-so. So we should see a decent amount of action here. Actually, they're heading up for the finale right now.
Okay. You're able to heal your teammates, right?
Yeah, you're able to give your teammates health packs or pills. Obviously, the health packs give you more health than the pills. The pills are sort of a temporary fix, if you will, as all pills tend to be.
Yeah.
And you're able to heal yourself or heal teammates along the way. Again, that's one of the more subtle forms of reinforcing the teamwork in the game.
It's hard not to notice the blistering pace of this game. This game moves quick.
Yeah, I mean, we wanted to provide a tense experience. I mean, that's another one of the ways to make people work together. If folks feel overwhelmed or on edge, they're going to look for help or band together more quickly than they would if they were just sort of wandering around and doing tons of exploration, and people would wander off into places.
Kristen, maybe a couple more questions, please.
Okay. I'm not even going to attempt this name. Sorry, guys. How many maps are going to be in the game?
So Left 4 Dead's primary part of the game is the survivor co-op, through those missions or through the movies. There's 4 of those movies. Each one is made up of 5 maps that are strung together with safe houses that serve as checkpoints for the level transitions. Then we also have a versus mode where you're able to play survivors against boss monsters, and humans can take over the role and play as the boss monsters. Those will be remixes from the 20 maps that are seen in the co-op survivor part of the game.
And is this drop-in, drop-out co-op?
Yes, absolutely. Okay. So you can start a server, as the only human in the game. Bots will fill the other 3 spots, and if you mark your server to be open, other players can jump in and knock the bots out in real time wherever folks are in the game. And here we see somebody hanging from an edge, another one of these subtle
pick them up
areas.
There we go. Cool. Kristen, let's have one more question before we wrap this up.
Okay, one more question, which means I'm going to pick the best one right now out of the bunch. Artie from Newton wants to know, in Left 4 Dead, each player in co-op plays as a different character. Does this make a change in the gameplay? Like, can one character carry a shotgun but the other can't, or do they all kind of act the same?
So at the beginning of each movie, you begin with the loadouts available to you, and there's selections and choices that you have to make that will define what sort of role you play. So there's sniper rifles, submachine guns, pistols, etc. And obviously, once you make that selection, you've sort of chosen a role as to how you're going to help the team or be a part of that team. Obviously, it helps to have a little bit of variety amongst the team, and also the different settings in the game will sort of help dictate some of those choices. So here in the hospital mission that we were looking at earlier, a sniper gun might not be as effective as a submachine gun, but in some of the rural areas where you're out in cornfields and chasing from farmhouse to farmhouse, rifles and shotguns may be more effective in those areas. So it's a strategy you want to determine based on having a variety amongst your team, and then also taking the environment into account as well.
Knowing where you are.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, so the most important question, when can we all be playing Left 4 Dead?
Left 4 Dead.
What's it coming out on?
Left 4 Dead is coming this November to the PC and Xbox 360 to gamers around the world.
All right, well, we can't wait to go kill some zombies. Doug, thank you so much for being here.
All right, thank you.
Yes, that was a lot of fun.
Kill dead people. Let's do it.
Let's do it, man. Let's do it. I'd do it right now if we could. We're going to take a look at the tape segment. Shank went out to check out the new Tecmo Ball. It's called Tecmo Ball Kickoff, and it's for the DS. Take it away, Shank.